Hey, welcome to part 2, and here we have Megaman.exe, and man, do I have a lot of fond memories of the Battle Network series. Specifically, Mega Man Battle Network 2 and 3, those are my personal favorite in the line, and for the longest time, even up until like a couple of years ago, I never knew that there was actually a Mega Man Battle Network 1. It wasn't called Mega Man Battle Network 1, it was just called Mega Man Battle Network. Because when I played the second one, I literally thought that was just the name of the game. I didn't bother to think that it was the 2 meant that it was a sequel. But man, I just have so many fond memories of the second and third one. 4, 5, and 6 are okay. I thought 4 was the weakest in the series, but I did like 5 and 6. I just didn't like it because they did away with the whole like uh, the forms, because in Battle Network 2 and 3 they introduced like certain forms you can take if you use certain battle chips, I believe. Like there was Guts form, and I don't remember anymore, but I know that Megaman.exe took like the form of different colors, and depending on what element, and I think they expanded it upon more on Mega Man Battle Network 3, and it was just, I had a lot of fun with that one. It's just a shame that they did away with that system and went with more like a fusion kind of thing, where Mega Man EX here could fuse with other characters in certain. Like, I will admit that the Mega Man and Bass fusion, that one was really cool. I never got it, but I always thought that form was really cool. And 6, they kind of went up and beyond with Mega Man Battle Network 6, where not only do you fuse with your character, other navis, you can also fuse, or I mean, you can actually transform, like I think it's called Cyber Beast. So you can have, not only can you turn into a Cyber Beast, but then you can fuse the Cyber Beast with a character, and then it's another form. And I will admit it was over the top, but I actually liked that about it. Aside from that, I never actually played the Star Force series, so I'm kind of hoping they make a Star Force figures, 4-inch figure. But man, it's just, Battle Network 2 had the best music. Battle Network 3 was the second best music. And it kind of had mixed, like 6, I think they did better with 6, but aside from that, yeah. Also, I only just recently started playing the first Battle Network, so I can't really have an opinion on that one. But it's alright, you know. Anyways, all that aside, let's get on to this figure here. And I don't think that this is actually a first. They've never released at least an accurate portrayal of the character in a 4-inch scale kind of thing. They did release a couple of Battle Network figures several years ago, but they're not really that good. You know, there's just typical US quality kind of stuff, or at least from what I could tell. They didn't have much articulation aside from the arms moving up and down and stuff. But this guy is just really good. I guess the only complaint that I have as of now is that I can't really tell if he's smirking or frowning. Because you can see the paint isn't going all the way at the lip right here. And it kind of looks like he's smirking, like if I were to, I don't know, yeah, from this angle it kind of looks like he's smirking, but from this angle it looks like he's serious. So that's kind of a weird thing going on. See that he's smirking, he's frowning. That is a minor thing, and probably could have been solved if the paint had gone all the way there. I guess something also I should mention about these 4-inch Nell figures: be very, very fragile with them, because they're very tiny, and I feel like with this much articulation, especially on both of these guys, I just feel like you're gonna break something. Like with this Mega Man, I feel like if you're gonna move his shoulder around, I suggest holding it right here at the actual shoulder, not the arm like that. I feel like you're gonna break the peg right there. So just be very fragile with these guys. And I may even say that go and get 2 copies. Like, I haven't done it yet, but I feel like I'm gonna buy a second copy of these guys, only because I'm worried that at some point down the line the joints are going to be very loose, or I might break, like, not break something. I just feel like the joints are going to be very loose at some point. So I'm definitely going to buy a second copy of these guys, just so, you know, as a backup. But he has some, I think he has the better articulation of the two, for like a lot of reasons, because maybe he's more human, like in shape, rather than the other Mega Man. And again, much like the other Mega Man, he actually has the same kind of problem, but his is actually the opposite problem on the neck joint, whereas this Mega Man figure, his actual neck joint is pegged sideways right here, inwards like that. Mega Man EX here, his actual joint is actually pegged into his chest from this angle like that. So while he can get his head tilted like that, he can't really get You see that now? So he has the exact opposite problem for what Mega Man has, where if you're trying to tilt his head sideways, you get that, and it's at an angle. But his is the opposite, where you tilt it this way, and so it's angled that way. That is very bizarre. Some bizarre sculpting going, and I'm not exactly sure why the reasoning for this was. Aside from maybe they didn't want his hair piece to get touching with this. I have no idea what this is actually. For the longest time, I thought that was just like a backpack. I guess they didn't want his hairpiece to be touching this. And speaking of hairpiece, on mine, you can kind of see here that it's actually molded, slanted a little bit. See that? It's supposed to be like this, straight. So that is, see that minor thing? Kind of bugs me, but not really. I can get over it. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting, where he has the exact opposite problem that the Mega Man figure has. Side to side. Can't really look down too much, but gets the job done. Not too much upwards because of his backpack here. That kind of sucks. His actual shoulder pieces are actually like angled in a certain way, because you kind of see how the actual joint is actually coming out from the side here rather than being inwards like that. And it's actually on a ball joint. And again, something I should mention that you should probably, like I said, I want to get a second copy of these guys because I have a feeling like that came off rather easily. And I'm worried at some point down the line that's going to be like to the point where it's not even going to stay onwards, or inwards, I mean. So he does have that. Move his arms like that. A cut at the bicep right there. Double jointed elbow, believe it or not. This is actually on his buster. So he's got like a joint right there. So if you can kind of see the hinge, it's right there. And the actual buster itself, see how it's kind of pegged with this metal piece right here. So it pretty much acts as a double jointed elbow. See, that just comes off. That is kind of bothering me actually. It's more prominent on the actual arm, not so much on the buster, but the actual double joint is more prominent on the actual like arm kind of thing. See that? Impressive stuff. At the actual wrist, he has these little, pretty much, you can't really get too much of a wrist hinge going on. That's pretty much it. Because if you go any more, then the actual wrist is going to pop off. There's that. He has an impressive ab crunch. Look at this. Impressive stuff. See that? There's a ball joint right there. And then he has a really good arch. And it's actually interesting that at the actual backpack, this little tail right here is actually you can it actually moves with his back. See that? Or at least that piece. So that's impressive. At the actual waist, he has two ball joints, much like Mega Man. And again, some impressive looking splits going on. Which he also does have a cut at the actual thigh, and it is a little bit more harder on this one. And it does kind of mess with the whole aesthetic going on, where it's supposed to be a straight line here. So that does kind of suck, but what are you gonna do? Double jointed knee, and it's kind of like two pieces right here. So it's the actual knee joint right here, and then it's actually connected to this piece. So it's kind of like a very perfect knee bend. See that, how you kind of have to move it like that. There you go. And at the ankle, he has this weird thing where you can actually detach his foot very far away from his actual ankle. It's kind of like, it's on a hinge, but also on a ball joint. Like, see if I can kind of show you. There's a ball joint inwards right here, and it's actually on a hinge. And it does its job decently, but it does leave a very unsightly gap in certain angles. So that does kind of suck. Like, I think personally though, I will say between these guys, between these two, I think this one is the better one in terms of articulation, only because of the head tilt. Like, I would have actually liked this more sideways at an angle rather than inwards at an angle, but that's just me. For accessories now, he came with even less accessories, because he doesn't even come with swappable arm hands. He only came with this buster. See if I can get you to stand. Here's his other hand, right here. His sword, I forgot the name of the actual battle chip for the sword. And you can actually move this side to side. So if you were to have him wanting his sword in certain angles, you can actually tilt this. So you can put this on either left or right arm. And his default looking ready for battle face, which makes him look like a ninja. And what kind of sucks is that I did see that they were planning on releasing a Lan figure, and Lan, while he's not going to be articulated, Lan will come with more accessories that you can use for this Mega Man figure, and that is kind of dirty on their end that they're going to be selling a statue, a mini statue Lan, so you can pose next to this Mega Man figure, but he comes with all the more appropriate stuff for Mega Man here, so that does, in my opinion, kind of sucks. It's smart, but it does kind of suck. They haven't announced him yet, but I'll definitely keep my eye on that. And finally, much like the other Mega Man figure, he came with this little stand, and again, much like that, he does not have the appropriate clamps to hold on to his waist, especially this one. I feel like, wait, is his waist smaller than Mega Man's? Nah, they're about the same waist size. So yeah, again, I wish the clamps were actually molded to actually fit the waist that these guys have. Because if not, they're just going to be moving around in the clamps. So yeah. Aside from that, this guy's pretty cool, especially this one, because I don't think there's ever been this much articulation. Well, maybe if there were model kits, I think there were some Mega Man Battle Network model kits, but I've never actually seen how good they were. But this one I'd say is way better, obviously. And I got him into some pretty cool poses. So I got nothing else to say on these guys. Get them now before they disappear or something. I don't know. I have a feeling these won't go up in price because they are pretty cheaply made. I mean, well, that was a rude comment. I apologize. But I mean, not like that. I feel like the material almost feels cheap, but not really. It's kind of like in the middle. Maybe that's why they're able to produce these so fast. Because like I said, these were announced earlier on in the year. And it's like already near the end of the year. We're already getting these figures and then pretty much the rest of them coming out soon after. So I don't know if they're made somewhere in the between in terms of material, so I don't know if they're that bad or that good. So I don't know, that's just something I want to say. Aside from that, let's get into some pretty cool poses. Would you agree?